because it is unconstitutional. This is literally state censorship. This has nothing to do with whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or not. Nothing at all.
One more. Just one last question.
Who would you like to see replace Kimmel?
Who would you like to see replace Kimmel on late night?
Well, a lot of people, anybody could replace him.
Back to Jimmy Kimmel, which is, again, an insane situation, especially because what Jimmy Kimmel said was nothing. Like, it was so timid. It was so moderate. It wasn't like a super significant or crazy joke. Barstool's fracturing. I know. Dave Portnoy's being a bitch and everybody's yelling at him right now. But Barstool's always operated like this. I mean, guys, PFD's there. You know what I mean? Arian Foster's there. Like, they've always had a diversity of opinion, and they always dunk on Dave Portnoy too. We're gonna get to that stuff in a second. The reason why they're mad at Jimmy Kimmel is not because of this last iteration. The reason why they're mad at Jimmy Kimmel is because he like cried during COVID or some shit. I don't remember, but like Republicans that have nothing else going on in their lives carry that resentment over to media figures that they despise forever. Republicans just hate Jimmy Kimmel. They've hated Jimmy Kimmel for a very long time because he's a lib, okay?
No talent. Kimmel he was fired, he had no talent. He's a whack job, but he had no talent, and more importantly than talent, he had no, because a lot of people have no talent, they get ratings. But he had no ratings. His ratings were worse than Colbert, I think. They got rid of Colbert, which was a good thing to do. And look, that's something that should be talked about for licensing too. When you have a network and you have evening shows and all they do is...
Dude, you watch Trump all day, every day. I don't know if you know this, but he's the president. He's the president, man. He's quite impactful, I think. To be honest, Jimmy Kimmel was lame, but he didn't deserve to be fired over that. I don't care. He could be the lamest motherfucker on the planet. What I care about is this administration enforcing this suppression of speech for the pettiest reasons, okay? I care about the utilization, the illegal and unjust utilization of regulatory agencies in an effort to sanitize the content of certain broadcasts that the president does not like. That is a direct violation of the First Amendment. Jimmy Kimmel's 5 viewers are very upset right now. Okay, there's 48,435 viewers in here, and we're all pretty upset about this. It doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel personally. Okay? It has nothing to do with his content whatsoever. Stop doing this like pre-qualification shit. Being like, oh, I don't really like Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, okay, dude. Congratulations. Congratulations, dude. I know. Neither do I. Who gives a... It is utterly irrelevant. This is not because he's a beloved figure, okay? He's not just going after Jimmy Kimmel. He wants all of the shows that criticize him to be taken off air. And he's going to do the exact same thing. Do you not understand? This is about stamping out discontent, no matter how moderate, no matter how marginal. That's what's so insane about it. And a lot of people are still like, well, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. Okay, well, you're a... This has basically nothing to do about Jimmy Kimmel. A major reason why the administration is doing this is so that it can throw red meat in the direction of his base. The worse things get, the worse the economy gets, okay? The worse the economy gets, the more angry Trump's base gets, the more they start recognizing that Trump is not the savior that they thought he was going to be, the more he has to distract them with this dumb shit. But that distraction in and of itself is an incredibly significant erosion of the First Amendment. They are quite literally going after people that have the most timid tone against the admin. I tried to explain this to people so many times over. It's not just people like myself that they've branded as like dangerous radicals. It's any kind of discontent. They want to stamp out any kind of anti-Trump statements, anti-fascist statements. That is what they are doing. I don't know how much more, I don't know what else I can show you for you to recognize this. And if you don't recognize it, listen up. You might be dumber than the Andrew Schultz podcast at that point. You might be dumber than half the Barstool guys at that point, because even they recognize it. You like to fancy yourself to be this like super educated leftist guy. They realize the danger. How the don't you? Yeah, Andrew Schultz, Tim Dillon, comedians and podcasters who are righteous about free speech. Sam Morrill. I'm against Kimmel being taken off the air and against people being shot for their opinions. See how easy it is. Even Tim Dillon doing this silly ass both sides situation here. Like he's like both sides again. Like this has anything to do with the other. FCC commissioner threatening to revoke broadcasting licenses has a chilling effect on free speech. Attorney General threatening to go after hate speech is a bad sign. When someone has a weapon, everyone will use it. I continue to unconditionally support Israel in all of its actions now and forever. Okay, that last part is actually funny. Left, fascism is wrong unless you kill. Oh God, why are these guys doing this? Both sides nonsense, brother. Oh my God. Oh my God. They just keep leaning into it. Like even in this moment, like the administration is going to come after you too eventually. They still have to couch the statement in like, I'm on the fence. I'm apolitical. Both sides are doing crazy shit. Cancel culture is wrong. Unless you cancel the shows of our political opponents, then we'll celebrate it. The vast majority of Americans that I speak to are repulsed by this behavior, yet there's almost no representation of the sentiment in media, independent or mainstream. How is that possible? These guys love presenting the silliest perspectives as though it's some semblance of like incredible bravery. Come on, Andrew. Jesus Christ, dude. What is this sitting? Just say it is completely and utterly unacceptable that the administration is actively trying to suppress speech. What's so crazy about it is, and the vast majority of Americans that I speak to are repulsed by this behavior, but not only is this false framing, okay, not only is this false framing, but what's so funny about it is virtually everyone is saying that, especially in mainstream media. I have yet to meet a person that hasn't said that in both mainstream and independent media. What? Not only is this like a made up version of the left, you can point to radicals everywhere, okay? You can point to people who are leftists themselves who have celebrated it, whatever, okay? I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but the notion that this is like the broad majorities of the left saying this kind of shit is so stupid. The Epstein list won't be released, but Jimmy Kimmel will be. What's wrong with criticizing both sides if both sides can be dumb? Dumber than the Fear and Pod? What's wrong with criticizing both sides if both sides in fact have dumb takes? Sometimes, in order to make it seem like both sides have dumb takes, you just kind of make up one side's dumb takes. Don't you think that's the issue here? And perhaps the reason why you're doing that is because you try to present yourself as this like apolitical vessel, this common sense guy. You develop a straw man for one side and make it seem as though that's all they care about. The dumb take in this circumstance is the person going, the Trump administration came after Jimmy Kimmel, and here is why the left is wrong too. If you want to do a left-right dichotomy here, you could at least present like cancel culture is and annoying and unproductive in almost every circumstance, no matter if it's hysterical campus SJWs doing it or every divorced dad with skin-tight Oakleys doing front-facing car videos doing it. Okay? And it's especially dangerous if it goes beyond cancel culture, when it turns into an erosion of the First Amendment, the government interfering in the content of certain broadcasts by utilizing the FCC to make threats is a direct intervention that is in violation of the First Amendment. So it's beyond cancel culture. Wired wrote, Brendan Carr isn't going to stop until someone makes him. In the wake of Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, experts say the FCC commissioner's conduct is flatly unconstitutional. They also expect him to keep going. This is my attitude here as well. Okay? This is exactly what's going on. And this is a constant for everything that this administration does. Okay? This is a constant for everything this administration does. It's the same for the FCC engaging in this unconstitutional act to clean up and sanitize whatever is getting broadcasted, stamping out political dissent. And it's the same for the military deployment. Rogan, Schultz, and the rest of the podcast crowd, you think they're going to unload on Disney/Bob Iger? Yes. But I do think that this is like super marginal, okay? I think that they are also miscalculating. And these guys are, to a certain degree, audience captured. They also agree with some of the conservative rhetoric. And I think the reason why they are saying like wishy-washy, both sides are stupid type statements is because they are also miscalculating how much their audience actually likes this shit. And once their audiences inevitably call them out for this kind of wishy-washy bullshit, as I suspect they will, there will probably be people in their audiences that will hear them talk like this and go, dude, you're being a just call out Trump for once, dumbass. You're the reason why he got elected, is probably going to be the common narrative here. Okay? Then they'll take a stronger stance. Have you literally heard of any podcast, bro, who has said they regret voting for Trump? Yes, this podcast, as a matter of fact. Andrew Schultz literally came out and was like, we didn't think you were going to do this stuff. We didn't think he was going to do this stuff. Like, and they said that like a couple months ago, as a matter of fact.
So this seems like a big attack on free speech. And
I think he's been way more aggro. He's been way more aggro on Trump. Andrew Schultz is like the one that was more wishy-washy, but he's also anti-Trump now. He's on the anti-Trump train as well. I mean, he's besties with Charlemagne the God, who is like one of the most esteemed liberals out there. So,
yeah, I think we've been pretty staunchly in favor of free speech. And it is funny to watch right-wing people just become left-wing people. Because I said something about how you're a snowflake if you think you should be. If you agree with this, that's some snowflake. And somebody was like, you clearly don't even know what the First Amendment means. And that's exactly what left-wing people used to tell me. Yeah. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom.
No, you know what's funny? No. If Republicans were up in arms about the Jimmy Kimmel thing, that's fine, okay? That is cancel culture, and Republicans weaponize it all the time. I know this because I am the recipient of a lot of the manufactured outrage that Republicans regularly engage in, okay? That's cancel culture. That's broadly understood as cancel culture. It is a universal principle. Everybody loves using it against their political opposition. What is happening in this instance is worse than that. What's happening in this instance is actually much more dangerous than that. It's the administration taking the initiative to sanitize and stamp out political dissent by using the FCC. Okay? Using the FCC as a primary vehicle to do something that the FCC itself has openly admitted they have no authority to do so because it is unconstitutional. And in the absence of any sort of legal pushback, this won't become a constitutional problem. This is literally state censorship. This has nothing to do with whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or not, okay? Nothing at all.
From consequences.
Right.
So y'all have just switched.
Yeah.
Now, again, this has nothing to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk. That's a horrendous thing. Let's get that out of the way. But in terms of censorship, freedom of speech is more under attack now, honestly, than I think it has ever been. I don't know if that's me being hyperbolic.
Maybe. I mean, as far as what Jimmy said, I think it's untrue, or at least unfair.
I don't agree with what he said. I don't like what he said. We should also say that. I don't agree with what he said. I don't like what he said. He should be allowed to say it. And what happened to Charlie Kirk is worse. Charlie Kirk should have been allowed to say the things we didn't like. Jimmy Kimmel should be allowed to say the things we didn't like. That's just what America is.
Yeah.
And freedom of speech, I've seen it truly under attack in India, where it's like you can go to jail. This is closer to that than I think what the left was doing.
Yeah.
Which is like the FCC putting, as much as we didn't like left-wing, like far left policy or far left whatever thoughts, it wasn't like Joe Biden was putting pressure on somebody to get canceled for saying retard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what makes this different and scarier to me and closer to what India has. Then that's what makes it an actual attack on free speech to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is, he at least arrived at the conclusion here, slowly but surely, but he did. He arrived at the conclusion, the correct conclusion, which is that this is worse than like a bunch of leftists like being annoying, okay? So much, I love that so much of their gripe also revolves around saying the R word, man. Oh my God, I cannot believe that we have Donald Trump as president in part because people just wanted to say the R word without someone being annoying to them. Oh my God, dude. What a stupid environment we exist in. What an absolutely ridiculous environment we exist in. And then they're also like, oh, well, Jimmy Kimmel, what he said, we don't like. Like, what do you mean? He didn't even say anything. Like, he didn't say anything. He did not say anything even remotely offensive, okay? There is a reason why free speech exists, because language is up to interpretation. If you start prosecuting people over language, you can arrive at some very dangerous situations. Language is subjective. The original video The original video of Jimmy Kimmel that caused this chaos was straight up around Jimmy Kimmel basically saying for the, in the immediate aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination, they spent every day, every moment being like, oh, it's one of your guys, is one of your guys. It turns out it was one of their guys. And that Donald Trump is not sufficiently grieving Charlie Kirk. He doesn't give a shit about Charlie Kirk. And then he showed a clip of Donald Trump doing just that. Okay. And people are trying to turn around and say, oh, Jimmy Kimmel lied. How dare you? How dare you say that the shooter was one of our guys? Motherfucker, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, said the exact same thing. He came from a MAGA family. You guys tried to say he was transgender and Antifa. Okay. And not only did Republicans also go along with this idiotic the false claims that this person was like straightforwardly a transgender Trantifa or whatever, that they were going to start prosecuting Trantifa or what they suspect is trans Antifa. But then they also recognized that the shooter was from good stock, right? From their perspective. So they actually de-escalated quite significantly. They were calling for blood. They were calling for civil war. They were calling for war. And then they turned around and decided, oops, maybe he is one of our guys. You're wrong. He didn't even say it was one of their guys. He just said they tried hard to show it wasn't one of their. None of it matters. Even if Jimmy Kimmel went on television and said, this guy voted for Trump illegally 1,000,000 times. He loves Donald Trump. The guy that shot Charlie Kirk loves Donald Trump. There is no government interference. Okay? There is no government interference. He isn't, though. You're being dishonest. Oh, my God. This is not about the contents of Jimmy Kimmel's commentary. The reason why I even brought up how language is subjective is to prove to you why it's idiotic to try and make these kinds of decisions at the federal level. What are we talking about, man? Are you making an assumption that he's MAGA? Or is there proof? No, dude, I'm not saying he's MAGA. Oh my God. Chatters. First of all, what are we doing here? It's going to be illegal to broadcast false information. I guess we're going after Fox News any day now. Do y'all have a brain is a good question. Is one that I find myself asking all the time. I even ask myself the same question for participating in this fruitless endeavor. I'm not saying the shooter is MAGA or a Trump voter or a Trump supporter. I'm saying that the right wing presented the shooter as a diehard Antifa transgender socialist Marxist. And then when they found out that he actually came from a MAGA family, they quickly scaled back their commentary. Okay. And the reason for why they did that is because they also came to the recognition that the shooter might be one of their guys. This does not mean that the shooter is actually a MAGA guy. I don't think the shooter is MAGA. There's no indication that the shooter is MAGA. Even having a Steam profile username with Donald Trump does not automatically indicate that the shooter is MAGA. Okay? Having said that, however, because of the subjective nature of language and interpretation, it is ridiculous to try and criminalize this kind of speech or any kind of speech. I have never been and never will be an advocate to criminalize speech, no matter how offensive I find it, no matter how dehumanizing I find it. This doesn't mean that there isn't a limit to speech, what kind of speech that you can engage in. Obviously, there are very reasonable limits that even in the United States of America, people don't entertain. But ultimately, this conversation is not about what Jimmy said. What Jimmy said was incredibly timid. There is a reason why many people are not showing what Jimmy Kimmel said and simply speaking over it, because they also recognize that it would look incredibly stupid for them to consistently cry about this insanely moderate statement, because it's nothing. Do you understand? It's nothing.